Here is what you can expect from the new Hunter rework changes that are coming soon in Lord of the Rings Online. So if you're not aware, the Hunter class is actually going to get a pretty hefty rework as stated through the public event schedule posted on LOTRO.com. So through here, you can see through the public event schedule that they actually have each quarter laid out, and Hunters and Burglars are both going to have a class rework done, but they've actually posted what we can expect from the Hunter rework. But before I go into that, make sure you hit the subscribe button as it helps the channel so much, and I would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's go over what they're going to change with the Hunter and what you can expect soon in the game. So a part of the LOTRO team here on Mac, they are a systems designer. They pretty much said that they have had a long discussion going on about the Hunter class on the forums, which is true. I've seen a lot of forums posting about the Hunter class long whiles ago, like a long tons of months ago now, which are buried. So they're pretty much just reviving what they're expressing, what they're going to change about the class. Here's a dive straight into the outline of some upcoming potential class changes. So please keep in mind, most of these changes have not been implemented and they are subject to change. So I'm going through this. This is what the developers themselves or people from the LOTRO team are saying, what they are looking at right now as to what changes that will be made, but this can change in the future, obviously. I mean, we still have a few months until this is implemented. So it looks like for Blue Line, for the Huntsman, the following changes aim to keep the gameplay distinct from Bowmaster, which is the red line. With no inductions and greater access to bleeds and melee damage, the Huntsman's playstyle would retain its focus on mobility and flexibility with the ability to deal potent burst damage through a combination of bleed cash outs and rapid fire focus splendor skills. So pretty much, if you're not aware right now, Blue Line Hunter, the Huntsman, is also pretty well known for having little to no inductions, running around. You don't have to stand still essentially to shoot off your skills is what I'm referring to. And you can run around, just do a lot of damage. Not as much in comparison to the red line, but it's still a fun class to kind of run around, hit things, and not have to worry so much about like standing still. And there are a few other notable skills that people really enjoy with the Blue Line. I do tend to go with Blue Line myself in a Hunter, so I would say Blue Line itself is probably one of the most preferred class tiers, but I don't know, it's kind of 50-50 with a Hunter, because I know a lot of red line Hunters and I know a lot of Blue Lines, but it seems mostly from my close friends and circle, I would say that most people go Blue. So with Blue, it sounds like they're trying to implement more melee, but also keep that mobility a strong factor to distinct it from red line, which I think people really want that to stay how it is, and no changes should be made there. So that's a good sign right off the bat. For the Bowmaster, the following changes aim to maintain the status quo of the resolute long-range archer, releasing a continuous stream of high-damage arrows as long as you're able to manage your focus and use inductions relatively uninterrupted. You may notice that several passive sources of induction reduction, say that 20 times fast, have been removed from the outline below. Passive induction reduction has crept up so high over the years that many Bowmasters have grown accustomed to having at least -75 to 85 induction durations at all times. In this outline, we pulled back on that a bit in exchange for higher direction damage, slowing down the flow of skills us a little bit in a favor of a more potent individual arrows. They don't want to have shorter inductions, and what they're trying to do is sort of have like a higher damage on what you're committing to, is what I'm hearing from this. It sounds like they want to kind of slow down the play style a little bit more, so it's not as similar to Blue Line, because Blue Line is so like fast, hit, but they want to actually have more damaging types of arrows in Red Line and it be a little bit slower to pull back in comparison to Blue, which I'm not really opposed to, but I do feel like that's going to make more people want to go to Blue Line rather than Red, but it's going to have options. For the Trapper of Foes, which is Yellow Line, the following changes aim to overhaul the specialization into one capable of matching other true support specializations like the Yellow Line Lawmaster, Burglar, and Mariner. These changes would minimize this specialization's focus on traps and roots, which are both awkward to use in combat and functionally less useful than the abilities available to other classes. In this place, the Yellow Lion Hunter would have greater access to more useful CCs like stuns, messes, and knockdowns, delivered with more ranged skills, and more interaction with your focus resource. So it sounds like they're going more for stuns and less for traps, which honestly sounds like they're going to take away more traps from hunters, which, I mean, many people don't really use their traps anyway, unless you're like in a raid or group, for instance, most of the time. So it sounds like they're just trying to get rid of traps. Maybe traps will be gone forever and hunters won't need them. But it sounds like you're going to have more of an ability to have more ranged skills, but also more interaction with the focus, which focus is actually something that they mentioned that they're going to change up a little bit with the Hunter rework, which we'll go over here in a bit. All right, let's start with stances. Hunter stances would be removed. Over the years, players have generally landed on their precision or strength as being their best stance, and then stuck out to the stance 100% of the time. If you guys don't know what stances are, hunters have these things where they're allowed precision or strength mostly. That's just a few. But these are almost like passive abilities that just make you sort of have like a little bit of a better buff. It's normally nothing too crazy. I always landed on precision. That was always something I always sat on, and it's just kind of like you click it once, you hit it, you never think about switching over stances again. So I'm kind of glad that they're going to get rid of it. The stances themselves never meaningfully altered any skills, and they were arguably more obsolete by trait specialization trees. Given that they add very little to active gameplay, these skills are going to be phased out completely. Wow. So they're not even putting them in the trees. They're just like, get rid of them entirely, which, yeah, they don't really add much to the buffs, and you can honestly add whatever little buffs you got from it in the trees, no problem, into another skill. So I don't really see an issue with that. There will be a new skill. Hunters would gain a new skill for the purpose of corruption removal. The skill will deal low damage and remove 1 active corruption on your target. It costs 2 focus and it's 5-second cooldown. This is great if you're on Angmar or Mordor, you know, if those legendary servers still exist. But those are good for those servers just because you do need corruption removals when you're going against like wraiths and stuff like that. So good call. It's something that I really don't think hunters have a very simple corruption removal in play. I couldn't even tell you what their corruption removal is for their skills. Blood Arrow will no longer cleanse corruptions. Oh, well, I guess that explains what, you know, would cleanse corruptions. Cry the Hunter will no longer daze enemies by default. The daze would become a bonus effect granted by a legendary tracery. Run speed potency will be increased by 10%. Run speed duration halved at 5 seconds from 10. Bubble potency would be increased by 15% of your max morale. Bubble duration reduced 30 seconds to 7 seconds. Why are they gonna decrease your bubble? What the frick? They're going to increase your morale, but like decrease your bubble length. I feel like with a hunter, they should have a longer bubble. Like, looks like they're decreasing some skills by minutes, several minutes. Find the path. This is the most raved about skill from any hunter. This allows you to run faster. It's going to increase movement speed by 25% by default. I believe right now it's at 15 or 20. I can't recall. I want to say it's 20. Let's put this into perspective though. Wardens have a 38% out of combat run speed boost. I think hunters should probably have a higher one from that because like I feel like hunters just lore wise should be running faster. They should be like running around doing more. Like they're kind of all over and, you know, battle and nature and all of that. They're definitely more in tuned or inclined to figure out pathways in comparison to wardens, where I don't really know why they have a 38% out of combat run speed boost, but I'm not complaining. I like a warden with that sort of a run speed. The bright campfire, the fire will last for only 60 seconds, but will provide significantly increased regen values, which is good. All right, and just to kind of save you from going through all of the trait specializations, I am going to link all of this forums discussion in the description down below for you guys. But some things I just wanted to mention about. So we'd already talked about the stances. Precision, the trait will grant you the effect formerly associated with precision stance, passively generating focus over time. So they are going to add a trait into Blue Line that will increase your same effects or boost that you got from precision, the stance. So it makes sense. I figured that they would do that. Scouring Blow will increase. Barrage is going to be reduced by half a second. Okay. Weird that they're going to increase a skill. The Huntsman will no longer have any skill inductions. It will specializing in the Bowmaster would reduce the range of your range skills by 5 meters. And specializing in Huntsman would no longer remove the miss chance penalty on movement. This trait would become viable in the tree. Wow, so they're actually going to reduce the range. 3 ranks, Merciful Shot grants you a short buff, increasing your melee damage. Pathfinder, this trait will be removed with and replaced with the Chase. You'll no longer receive a mischance penalty while moving. All right, so just kind of going through this, it seems like there are definitely more melee damage increase buffs, and you definitely don't have to worry about any sort of inductions. Yeah, it seems like overall, though, they ended up kind of reducing cooldowns on some things and also increasing on just a few. Now looking at Bowmaster, specializing in Bowmaster will no longer grant the needful haste proc effect. It will no longer grant the skill Pinning Shot, but I liked Pinning Shot. And it will increase the range of your skills by 10 meters. Dang! So you're gonna be uber ranged. Well, that kind of sucks with Blue Line. You're gonna have to be closer to enemies. But, I mean, your melee is increased, so I guess that makes more sense. Red Line, though, it seems like you're just gonna be a strict long-range Bowmaster, and you really shouldn't ever have to go back to your melee abilities or even your swords for that matter. Swift Release will be removed. Shoot to kill, damage increase. Archer's Mark, this is going to move to the Trapper line and be replaced by Strong Jaw. Will reduce the focus cost of Penetrating Shot from 3 to 2. Oh, heck yeah, man. Dude, Penetrating Shot is one of the most used skills, I feel. And the fact that you're going to even have a lesser sort of need for focus, that's fantastic. And fast draw duration is increased. Why? That seems weird to me. So this is what Red Line's gonna look like now. But it looks like Bowmaster, it says a stationary long-range hunter dealing great damage. A high impact that rains bursts of damage upon the assailant, using a rhythm of generating and consuming focus to max DPS. Plus 10 max distance for all ranged skills. Man, Hunter's gonna have like the craziest eyesight, I swear. Trapper of Foes. Lingering Wound will move to the Huntsman specialization. Traps will no longer become induction list or usable on the move. Specializing in the tree would grant the skill Pinning Shot. Ah, okay. I guess it does make more sense for Pinning Shot to be on the yellow tier. Specializing in this tree will grant you the skill Explosive Decoy. Ah. Dang, the only way you can get that is from Yellow Line now? Dang. It'll have significantly reduced morale, allowing it to detonate almost immediately after it's attacked and without waiting for a delay. Well, that's good. Triple Trap will be replaced with Hail of Arrows. Grants a skill Hail of Arrows, which will tear through the armor of a large group of enemies, applying a minor rend armor, which is a minus 10% physical mitigation, 8% tactical mitigation for 25 seconds on a 45-second cooldown. That's going to be pretty good for raids. Heightened sentences. This trait would be removed and replaced with Tripwire, making it a yellow spec exclusive skill. Tripwire will increase from 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes seems a little excessive. We can make it a minute maybe. Sturdy Traps. This trait will be moved into the trait tree and will be replaced with Hunter of Legend. Reduce the induction of combat focus by 2 seconds and its cooldown by 10 seconds. And then this would grant you an active skill, the Horn of Orome. It restores a large amount of morale and power to everyone in your fellowship within 60 meters. Instantly grants 9 focus and gain 1 focus every second for 15 seconds. My god. Increases the range of your ranged skills by 10 meters for 15 seconds. It's on a 2-minute cooldown. This seems OP as heck for fellowships and just in general. My god. Alright, so it looks like they are going to have a skill specifically for Set Trap. Ooh, Endurance. This trait will no longer interact with the Endurance stance, nor will it be granted for parry or evading. Instead, it would grant minus 5% power cost for focus builder skills per rank. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it at this point. Distracting Shot. This trait would grant the Distracting Shot skill. Dang, I can't believe they're going to put that in Yellow Line too. More things that are being removed. Rain of Thorns. This trait will grant the skill Rain of Thorns. The cooldown will be increased from 1 minute to 2 minutes. Piercing arrow. Piercing arrow trap would be converted into a single target range skill. Similar to the trap, this would reduce your target's movement speed and apply an effect to the hunter, causing all of your range skills to restore morale for 15 seconds. I kind of like this because it would cause your range skills to restore your morale for a good chunk of time, if you ask me. That seems cool, but I'm sad it's going in the yellow line too. Let's see what other people are saying. Someone here says, instantly, I highly dislike the -5 meters of range. For context, I am not an endgame focus, but main the blue hunter on all accounts, as it is proven to be the fastest class, mostly due to a far range, great mobility, instant burst damage, and also multiple targets. I added plus max ranged attack on nearly all hunters' legendary items, and really hope the -5 meters can be changed, or add a way to regain them, maybe through trait points further down. That's honestly a really fair point, because I do think with hunters, maybe not as much in comparison to other classes, but like a minstrel, for instance, okay? I see a lot of people who do use the skill extension on their legendary items, so then that way they can attack from a further distance. And I think that when you have a lighter armored class, or in this case a medium armored class, you do kind of need more range. And I think specifically with a hunter, something I was always told about hunters from my family is that they always looked at it like hunters shouldn't really have to be in melee. They should be a ranger. They should be someone where they're slaying their enemies before they're even getting touched, because that is where they are most vulnerable, when they're in melee. So I think it is kind of interesting that they're going to implement more melee for blue line, because I never really feel like a blue line hunter is really meant to do melee. Like that wasn't what I thought the focus of the class trait was about. I always thought it was about mobility and being fast, not about being closer. I feel like that's going to make you less mobile more than anything, or hurt you more. So I am curious about that. I feel like really honestly red line might be more played now though, because you have a longer range, but not only that, you're going to be doing more damage, and obviously you do have inductions, but it seems like with the damage increase that are coming to all of the skills, might be worth it. And then with yellow line, I think the thing is they put all of the skills essentially that would help you with keeping people, in this case stunned now, but like rooted, and now they're sort of taking out all of those sorts of skills in blue and red entirely and just putting it into yellow, which I don't think is really going to work out too much, because I think with the yellow line it still is going to have an issue of like it's really not ever going to be used unless it's for rating, which is fair. I mean, there are classes that are like that, but I think just overall you're getting more cooler looking skills and stuff like that in yellow, which will make it more, I guess it will probably intrigue more people to try it, but I don't really think in actuality it's going to make so much more of a difference. Yellow's getting all of the things that made a hunter, because you would root people, you would keep them still and then start taking them out because you're better with a longer range. But I feel like with yellow, it's kind of like they're supposed to be the middleman and be a little long range and melee depending on what skills you want to trigger. And I don't really know why they're trying to make like hunter this melee and ranged like form of a class. It's mainly supposed to be a ranged class. Like you use melee and when you need to, I guess, but I never thought of hunters being like a morph of both. And I feel like that's what they're trying to do with it. But at that point, just do a champion and then add in a few more bow and arrow skills for the champion when you get the bow and arrow unlock. Or same thing with Guardian, if you want to be more like that. That would be sort of my guess. I don't know. I would definitely need to see like what SSG's main goal is with this, or just overall what they're hoping to change. Obviously, when it comes to class reworks, they're going to be super specific, because obviously a lot of people are going to be upset if they make changes that people don't like. But I think too is like, it's one thing reading it and going over the specifics, and I kind of just skimmed through some of it, but in actuality it'll be something else when we're actually playing it. So I think it's all right. It's gonna be new. I'm a little on edge right now, mostly with like the blue line and the yellow line stuff, but red line sounds like it's gonna be way better, and I'm kind of for that. Anyway, I hope that gave you some sort of understanding of what you can kind of expect in the future in quarter 3 when these hunter changes do potentially go into effect. And like I mentioned, this is just still early on from what's been reported by LOTRO's team, and anything could still change. So just make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you are still being notified and can see when the changes do go live, because I'll definitely be making videos about it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, you better stay weird, you weird weirdos.